I want to transition to the next thing. You had a moment with Scotty Pippen, which I thought was kind of interesting. You guys are sitting next to each other. Rob, if you can play the clip. And while you're sitting next to each other, this is...
Now, guys, pay attention to Michael Saylor's facial expression.
Him. The interviewer asks him, I don't know if this is it, Rob. I sent you one that's a lot shorter than this. This is 33 minutes and 40-something seconds. There's one I sent you that is, let me see. I don't know if I sent it to you or not. But there's one that's literally, here, I have it. I'll text it to you if you want to look at it. You're sitting next to Scottie Pippen. Scottie Pippen is a basketball player. Used to play with Michael Jordan. And he's being asked about Satoshi. And Pippen makes claims about the fact that he's known him since the early 90s. And Michael, if there's any facial reactions that should end up being a meme or should be used for other videos, it's yours. Because, folks, I want you to focus on Michael's face. You don't make a lot of facial reactions. You're typically very stoic. But in this moment, you couldn't control yourself. I want to know why. Go ahead.
Now, this is true. Usually he's pretty stoic. And now he makes this facial expression. Now, you guys, please explain to me what this facial expression means. And if you can trust anyone like it.
Go ahead, Rob.
You mentioned you met Satoshi in Seattle in 1993. And he also came to you in a dream. You have a nice relationship with Satoshi.
I feel like I do.
Yeah.
I feel like I have.
Now here it seems like Scotty Pippen is telling the truth. He indeed met with Satoshi. But look at Michael Saylor's face. It seems like he saw a ghost. It seems like he knew that it's not possible that anyone meets Satoshi because the whole thing is a scam. It included Satoshi Nakamoto. This guy doesn't even exist, and it's possibly an organization behind his name. Possibly it's a criminal organization, but I don't really see what triggered that facial expression.
A story to tell. Definitely had an opportunity to meet him back in 1993.
You mentioned...
Now, what happened previous to that? What happened after that? Is he saying 1993? Is he confusing Satoshi with Michael Jordan? Who in 1993 Seattle? Is he thinking George Carlin as Satoshi? Sean Kemp? 93 during the club? Who is he talking about here?
Look, I like Scotty, and he came over to my house, and we had a nice dinner on my yacht, and we talked all about Bitcoin, and it was awesome, and I have the greatest respect for him. I think that the interviewer kind of asked him an unfair question, and I was a little bit uncomfortable because us Bitcoin...
How is that an unfair question? Please, guys, please. How is that an unfair question?
Maximalist, we are very protective of Satoshi, and we don't we don't talk about Satoshi.
He doesn't know what to say. He's making it up as it goes. I mean, I don't see what is the problem in talking about Satoshi. If there wasn't, because this guy doesn't even exist. This is the whole thing is a fairy tale. The whole thing from the beginning to the end is pretty much a huge fairy tale.
Other than with reverence, so yeah, I don't know. I don't have much more to say on that, other than we know Satoshi came onto the world scene Halloween 2008, and we like to have all of our commentary starting Halloween white paper 2008 onward. Otherwise, I think it's constructive that Scottie Pippen, one of the greatest basketball players of all time, has a relationship with Satoshi and talks about Satoshi, and it's endemic of the fact that Satoshi is the bringer of fire, Prometheus. He brought us sound money, and I think that's awesome.
He keeps comparing Satoshi to Prometheus. Probably we got more information about Prometheus from many centuries ago and millennials ago that we have on Satoshi. The whole thing is just a joke. And the analogies that he makes, total nonsense.
But
Did you guys
otherwise,
speak backstage? Were you like,
otherwise, I'm not talking to you about my relationship with Satoshi. Satoshi is reverend.
to him?
What does it mean that he's not gonna talk to him about his relationship with Satoshi? If it wasn't a scam, he's got something to hide.
To Scotty is what you're saying, or you're saying to you as
I
well.
think Satoshi's very special. But
Did you guys have a follow up like you and Scotty?
oh yeah, he came to my house that evening, and we had a great time, a great discussion.
Did you ask him like, what do you mean you met him? Did he share anything with you or no? Like who he when he met him?
I have no other insight to offer on this subject.
Got it.
How is it that he doesn't have any more insights to offer? The whole thing is a lie. I mean, to me, it's crystal clear that the whole thing is a hoax.
Well, listen, the rest of the world was curious when Scotty said that. One, I was concerned about your neck because I thought you cracked your neck when you turned the bottle. I don't know if you saw that or not. It was a very quick.
Yeah, he was about to crack his neck. I mean, I've never seen Michael Saylor reacting like that.
Movement you made. And then the second part, everybody, if you play one more time, Rob, again, just look at the neck reaction, folks, not anything else, but watch this, go ahead.
You mentioned you met Satoshi in Seattle in 1993. He also came to you in a dream.
Twice.
You have a nice relationship with Satoshi.
It is not fair that Buchella asked him the question, and I
Is
felt
that
a
in the
little bit
world?
surprised.
Is that
But why is it not fair? Why is it not fair that someone can ask him a question?
inappropriate to ask the question in the
I-
world?
I-
Why did you get a little bit uncomfortable?
I think it's inappropriate.
No, it's not inappropriate. He's got uncomfortable because he probably knows something that we don't know.
How do you think that
I
is?
think it's inappropriate. It's inappropriate for a big, it's like just inappropriate.
He doesn't know what to say. He's thinking about something to say, another lie possibly. He doesn't come up with anything. I mean, it's easy to look at facial expressions and body language. I mean, anyone has a little bit of a skill to read people.
Satoshi came onto the scene in 2008 Halloween with the white paper. Asking anybody about their relationship with Satoshi before that date is an unfair, inappropriate question.
It's almost as if it's
It was awkward, but that's all I have to say. I'm a big fan of Scotty. He's greatest ever. I'm a big fan of Satoshi.
What is awkward? Can you elaborate? How is that awkward?
I would rather not
well, maybe I'll say
be in
my
an
thoughts.
awkward situation.
I'll say it and you don't have to say anything. I
The whole thing, awkward situation. I don't understand what makes them awkward.
get the feeling like is there an element of looking at Satoshi as God, as Jesus in that space? Like, do some people look at him that way? Where it's not just this mysterious, anonymous inventor of Bitcoin, or is it like almost like worshipped type of a character?
Satoshi's a spiritual figure in the Bitcoin community. Satoshi is equivalent to Prometheus. Prometheus gave us fire. Satoshi gave us money.
Again, with this nonsense. Give us money. If it's not even money.
Bitcoin is the first perfect money. The first perfect money in the history of the human race. I spent
How is that money if it's not used? It's not used nowhere. Not even in El Salvador, which is legal tender, it's used. How is that money? The day that you can pay your federal taxes with Bitcoin, that day is when Bitcoin is money. Right now, he keeps calling it digital gold, the digital currency, digital asset. What it is, Bitcoin, it's a speculation. It's not even a speculative asset. It is a speculation. Nothing more.
Spend my copious free time reading economic history. And I've read thousands of years of economic history and tens of thousands of pages. And it's one chaotic, disaster train wreck of, we used seashells, we used bales of tobacco, we used silver and gold, and we clipped the coins, and we had bimetallism and it crashed, and we had fiat currency, and we had a debt crisis, and no one ever had a money that was not defective. I mean, I can show you examples of monetary crashes every 30 years for the past 3,000 years in every single culture. And
why Bitcoin it doesn't crash? Because Bitcoin has had several crashes.
Satoshi comes along for the first time and says, oh yeah, here's money, it's not broken. And it's so profound. It's like, you look at this water, you sit down at a table and the poor person thinks, oh, I gotta drink water. And the rich person wants to drink $1,000 bottle of champagne or wine or something. But for 100,000 years, humans didn't have clean water. Right? If you read the history of civilization, people are dying in their 30s and 40s and 20s because the water is dirty, because they're getting infected. If you were Henry VIII, you didn't have clean water. The reason they all had gout is they had to drink wine with alcohol in it, and they ended up with degradation of their limbs because they didn't have clean water. So we only have clean water, clean air, clean food that doesn't kill us. We only have it for the past 100 years. We had dirty money from 3 million BC all the way up to January 3rd, 2009. We have dirty money, and there's one guy that actually finally gives us clean money, non-toxic, it does not kill us. So is it spiritual? Yeah.
How is that clean money? Explain to me how Bitcoin is clean money. With all the people who have been killed with Bitcoin, the crypto millionaires, you can do a search for yourself, all the crypto millionaires killed. This goes on and on and on. And they're all killed under mysterious circumstances, and no one really knows. This is really worth to dig into it. Those are all the people vanished or killed. Bob Lee, 2023. Park Mall, December 2022. And thanks God that this is clean money. Some of these people are young too, 29. And all the people in jail, let's see, crypto people in jail. Possibly Michael Saylor is gonna end up in jail. Keeps running this Ponzi scheme. When his company's stock is gonna crash to the floor. Those are all the people who were running crypto exchanges. Police do anything about stolen crypto. Crypto is just a big mess. Frauds, hackers, wallet companies, crypto exchange trying to steal your keys. I don't see how he can call this clean money. He makes a statement like that based on what? Yet the government and anyone can track your Bitcoin and Bitcoin transactions. So it's not really decentralized. I mean, they can backtrack your transactions. Cyber threat. It's subject to a lot of frauds and scams and being used for the wrong reasons. I don't see how he calls it clean money. He doesn't probably know the definition of clean. Oh, I know, because he's got an agenda. Of course, that's why he says it's clean money, but only people who don't know can buy into what he's saying, because people who know, they know that he's full of shit.
It's spiritual. It's like, what happens when I inject poison and toxic into the veins of my kids? They're dying. It's like forcible chemotherapy to a 12-year-old athlete, you know? That's the problem. All these companies have a useful life expectancy of 10 to 15 years. You know why? Because the capital is toxic, because the money that they capitalize on is toxic, is sucking the life out of them. Satoshi comes along and he gives you non-toxic money. And who else did it before him? Nobody. So you gotta actually hold with reverence the person that actually gave the human race the first clean, perfected money.
How is it non-toxic money? How is it perfected, clean money if it's not even money? This guy's a joke.
And you look after that point, you're like, oh man, like we're not dying anymore. You know, infant mortality rate's 40% before clean water. It's like 4 out of 10 of your kids are going to drop dead, and I give you clean water, and I say, take this, it won't kill them. And you're like, well, what? So
says who? I mean, he's making all those claims without any evidence.
the point is, it's a pretty profound paradigm shift, and it's very, for those of us who are maximalist, that actually believe Bitcoin is an ethical imperative, it's an instrument of economic empowerment. We're just very protective of Satoshi. We don't.
You are protective of the scam, which is Satoshi. That's why you're protective. Because if not, there wouldn't be no reason to be protective.
Like when anybody pokes at Satoshi, right?
You have 5 kids?
No, I do not have 5.
Do you have a family?
I don't have any children.
You don't have any children?
No.
Okay, got it. Interesting. Yeah, I wonder, like your level of conviction. It was very interesting, your reaction to that clip with Scotty, because it changed in a very interesting way while I'm sitting here talking to you, and I appreciate you sharing that with me because I didn't know you viewed it that way. Is that pretty common in this space? Is that pretty common in folks in Bitcoin who are influencers like yourself, that they have a similar feeling?
The maximalists, yeah.
The maximalists.
Yeah, like I said, it's like 10 hours and you're a trader, 100 hours you're an investor, 1,000 hours you're a maximalist. You think it's an instrument of economic empowerment. It's an ethical imperative for 8 billion people. So, like, for example, you think the world's better with electricity? Well,
sure.
What if I took your family, I took away electricity, clean water, clean air, clean food?
What does this have anything to do? That he takes the clean water, clean food, the energy from your family. What does it have to do with this Bitcoin scheme?
And metal. Yeah. Do you feel like you've been ripped back to the Stone Age? Like maybe Stone Age? Yeah. Would you be angry about it? So what if I turn around? Now what if I said the opposite? Which is, I don't think you should have those things. What if I said I don't think you should have clean air, clean food, or steel, or glass? What if or internal combustion engine? I'm going to take away your car. Would you not be a little bit angry at me? A little bit irritated? A little bit irked? I'm going to pass a law taking away your rights to electricity and glass and airplanes, right?
But what does anything of this have to do no one is taking away nothing from nobody. I mean,
from your family and all your friends, and you're like, what the heck are you talking about? Okay, that's how we feel about Bitcoin. When we that's how we feel about money, or in this case about digital money, perfected digital money. We're like, you're going to take that away from people? Or if you said to me, if I said, I got this idea for your kids, we're going to give them clean food and clean water in their first 5 years, and then another friend of mine says, it's not really important, you don't need that. It's like, we're just going to give you half, swamp water, and we're going to have them eat mud, and that's okay too, we're going to diversify. And I'm like, don't feed your kids mud, and don't give them swamp water. And by the way, they're going to, and here's antibiotics. You don't need antibiotics. They're going to die without the antibiotics. It's not a big deal. The point is, we get worked up about it because we see it's like critical technology, and you're not going to move the human race forward in the next millennium without electricity, without digital energy, right? Bitcoin is digital energy, just like you had electrical energy, just like you had, it's just like...
Okay, I'm getting tired. It's digital energy. That's what he says. The only energy it is, it's a waste of energy. Because mining a Bitcoin doesn't even make sense financially. I believe in the United States, if the Bitcoin was over 200 grand, it makes sense to buy one Bitcoin. But I know there are countries where the cost to mine a Bitcoin, it's over 300 grand. So basically, mining a Bitcoin doesn't make money. All of those companies that are mining Bitcoin, they lose money. You tell me how this makes sense. The only energy Bitcoin is a waste of energy.
If we took away crude oil right now, 95% of the people on Earth would starve to death or freeze to death. The world comes to a grinding halt. So when people actually attack oil, or they attack nuclear power, they attack electricity, you think, you just must hate humanity. And when you attack Bitcoin, you're attacking digital energy, right? And you must just hate humanity.
So where are you going with this? Are you going to Gary Gensler? Is that who you're going to, individuals that are getting in the way? Is that when you said, if you think, who do you think you are to prevent us from having access to all this stuff? Who's doing that? Individuals like Gary are getting in the way?
I think
Regulators?
it's just tradition. There's two kinds. There's traditionalists that just are clinging to the 20th century. And then I think, there are just people that are distracted or closed-minded, anti-technology, or actually there's another group. The traditionalists, they want to cling to the 20th century systems. This is the way the stock market works. This is the way.
You put Buffett in that category.
Buffett's in that category.
Okay.
Charlie Munger's in that. They just grew up in that. So
There's nothing wrong with that. That's just the way they've been. Right?
And there's another set of collectivists or authoritarians that just don't want you to have freedom.
Is that a Gary Gensler kind?
I wouldn't characterize what. I would say probably Gensler falls more in the camp of an enthusiastic traditionalist. He has a reverence for the 33 Act and the 40 Act and what Franklin Delano Roosevelt did and the way the capital markets work. So, it's okay for the stock market to trade 9:30 to 4. Okay? There's another view, which is why can't I actually trade 24/7, 365?
That's a great question.
And why can't I trade Apple stock on my iPhone and take self-custody of it and send it to a dude in China on Saturday afternoon? Right? Why can't? There's nothing unethical about it. It's the future. But I think there's three dimensions of this. Do I want to do business the 20th century way, where NASDAQ is the only place my stock trades, and it trades 9:30 to 4, but not on bank or holidays. That's the traditional view. Then you've got the anti-technical view, that no innovations. I can now issue a token in 4 hours for $40, or you can go public on NASDAQ for $40 million in 4 years. And the Gen Z people are like, well, why can't I just do something a million times faster, cheaper for $4 in 4 hours? Why do I need $40 million of lawyers in 4 years? right? And so that's kind of the innovation. And some people get that technology, they're pro-tech, and some aren't. And then I think you've got the authoritarians. You got the Chinese being the example of, we want to give you money, but we want to be able to expire the money in 90 days if you're not a good citizen.
Right.
And so I think there are forces that are of control. They don't want freedom. And in the United States, we go back and forth. We're like, we want you to have freedom, but we don't really have,
Too much.
Like, we don't want you to, I can't carry $20,000 through an airport right now, even though we're the land of the free. So there's this love-hate relationship with freedom everywhere in the world, that goes on. And then there's a love-hate relationship with technology. And then you've got the systems that work, right? Visa and MasterCard and NASDAQ and New York Stock Exchange and DTC and custodians. You've got the systems that work from the 20th century. And if you're wanting to protect those systems, I understand why. Because you're worried about burning $100 trillion to the ground. And then you've got things you can do that are new, like I can move the money 1,000,000 times a second for a thousandth of a penny,
Yeah, but it's not 1,000,000 times a second. This guy is full of it. It's not pennies. They charge you much more than that.
What if I want 8 billion AIs to move it 1,000,000,000 times a second through 10 billion computers? And that scares some people. But that's the future. And so I would say I give everybody a benefit of the doubt. Some people are just not progressive because they want to protect the past. Some people just don't understand the promise of the future. But there are some authoritarians that just generally don't want you to have freedom.
I mean, I'd rather send money with Visa and MasterCard. At least if something happens, you can dispute the transaction. And actually, it's probably cheaper to send it with the conventional means than it is Bitcoin. And with all the fraud and theft, I'd rather stick with the conventional system. But thank you, Michael Saylor.
I remember this clip here with Trump, right, at the Bitcoin conference when he made that comment. And Rob, if you want to play this clip.
On day one, I will fire Gary Gensler and appoint a new SEC chairman.
He did it twice.
I didn't know he was that unpopular.
Why is he so unpopular amongst specifically this community?
I think what you've got is a struggle between the 20th century and the 21st century. And I think Gensler's view is the rules we have and the laws we have are adequate and they're good enough and you should conform to them. And I think the crypto community and the Bitcoin community think, why can't I do everything 1,000,000 times smarter, faster, stronger from my iPhone on Saturday night? Why can't I? I want to do new things. Why can't 10 million if you're 10,000 influencers, you got 1,000,000 followers, why can't all 10,000 of them issue their own token and have their own access to the capital markets? And why do I gotta actually take 4 years and $40 million to do it if it's only worth $4 million to me? So there's the tension, and the two sides have talked past each other. If Gensler had put forth a digital assets framework, and he had said, okay, look, here's how you ethically issue a token. Here's how you ethically issue a security. Here's how you ethically prove you're a commodity. Here's how you ethically prove that you're a currency. And by the way, don't lie, cheat, and steal. If he had done that and given people a route to register, I think 95% of the industry would have come into compliance, because no one in the industry is standing up arguing we want to lie, cheat, and steal. But in fact, there was no framework, there was no process to do it, and on the other hand, I think the industry wasn't able to generate the support through Congress or the Senate, and I think the administration wasn't very constructive. So I would say there's been a non-constructive dialogue. The people in the crypto industry, their position has been, well, you don't respect us, so we don't respect you, right? And the entire relationship broke down to kind of mutual yelling back and forth. But the right question for the crypto industry to ask is, why is it unethical for Katy Perry to issue Katy Perry token to 1 million people if she has no intention of lying, cheating, and stealing? Why is that unethical? Why can't Joe Rogan, raise capital from the general public in an honest way, cheaper? Why does he have to spend infinite money to do it? And then why can't I trade Apple stock on an iPhone on Saturday? What's unethical about that?
But it's not about that. Whether or not you trade Apple on a Saturday doesn't mean anything. Who needs all of that liquidity anyways?
And if I take you at face value, the SEC says just register. But if I did register, it's illegal to trade on Saturday. And so the point is, MicroStrategy's registered. You can't trade MicroStrategy stock on Sunday. Binance once listed our stock on the Binance exchange. The German regulators made them shut it down, right? And so what we really need is we need to elevate the conversation to constructive, cheerful, progressive. How are we actually going to make things 1 million times cheaper, faster, better, more efficient? And the dialogue devolved. It started kind of optimistic in 2021, and then it...
Okay, guys, I'm gonna wrap it up here. He's saying a whole bunch of nonsenses. Katy Perry and Joe Rogan, yeah, they can release their own tokens, but it's not money. It's never gonna be money. It's like the chips in a casino. It's only money inside that casino. You can't go to Walmart and pay with chips of a casino. So I feel like I got my point across.